Hello everyone, today is 21st of June, now it's 5 to 3 in the afternoon Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is first update for today in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment. And I will start with, I will say, breaking news from Hungary, because Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban made a statement that NATO basically is about to start its military operation in Ukraine. I translated statement to be more precise. So let's go through this information here. NATO plans to conduct a military mission in Ukraine, but Hungary will not participate in it. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban stated on Radio Kossuth. It is hopeless, and the price to pay for it is so high that it's not worth it, he stated. Orban said that he had agreed with the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg that Hungary will not take part in the alliance's military mission. The European train is heading towards war. If our government supported the people in the European Parliament election, I can press the stop valve. The train will stop and the Hungarians will be able to get off, he said. If the stars align well, then we will be able to convince the driver and no one will go further. So basically what Viktor Orban is saying is that military operation is already planned. I guess all the decisions already been made. Otherwise, why would he have a conversation with Stoltenberg to inform him that Hungary is staying out of this operation, if there is no operation prepared? And this is big, by the way. This is big deal, because I believe we are closing into the final stage of this proxy war that Western ruling class is waging against Russia. And this final stage is, of course, will be peak of the escalation, and it will start. It will be signal for beginning of the end of Ukraine as a state. It will be signal of the beginning of the full-scale disintegration of this former Soviet republic. And when it comes to NATO mission, by the way, you know my take on whole this Ukrainian story. I was saying for a very, very long time that most likely NATO troops will occupy Western Ukraine. And in that case, probably we will manage to avoid full-scale confrontation between Russia and NATO. Although, of course, there is a possibility that NATO troops will move eastwards from the Western Ukraine, and in that case, direct confrontation, at least local-scale direct confrontation between Russian and NATO troops will be unavoidable, and maybe even full-scale conflict. It all depends now on level of madness of the Western ruling class, how far they are willing to go and how much they are willing to risk with humanity, by the way, because that's what is on the line. Existence of the humanity, because if Western ruling class will provoke full-scale conflict with Russia, that will mean end of everything, full-scale nuclear exchange and end of civilization as we knew it. Also, by the way, on this topic, leader of the House minority in the House of Representatives in UK, Democrat Hakeem Jeffries once again stated that US military personnel possibly will be deployed into Ukraine. This is confirmation of the news that Orban shared with the world, that NATO already has a plan in a place to conduct military mission into Ukraine. And by the way, Russian side is of course monitoring all this stuff and is ready. Also, interesting news that US permits Ukraine to conduct strikes anywhere inside the Russian border. Basically, US is permitting itself to conduct strikes deep inside Russian territory because all long-range weapon systems that formerly Kiev regime was supplied with, all those weapon systems are operated by NATO forces. US, UK, France mainly. But who knows what other countries deploy their militaries into Ukraine to operate with these long-range weapon systems. And we have statements from Russian president. For example, and he was in Vietnam, of course, yesterday when he was making these statements. Maybe he left Vietnam already, or maybe he is still there. But this is not important. What is important, what Putin said, and according to him, West wants to achieve a strategic defeat of Russia. And this was stated openly many times in the West. Well, this strategic defeat, everyone to understand what that means, is basically end of Russia. If West will achieve strategic defeat of Russia, that will be end of Russian statehood. Because for Russia, existence is on the line. And by the way, this is very important. Words that President chose to use. He said that for Russia, this is existential issue to achieve success on the battlefield and to secure itself from the extremely aggressive anti-Russian US-led coalition. And the word existential has a huge meaning because according to Russian nuclear doctrine, if there is any existential threats to Russia, government, president has authority to use nuclear weapons. And the Russian president stated that Russian strategic nuclear forces are on high readiness. And he also said that there is no need to conduct preventive nuclear strikes yet. And this is also important because in Russia, words have meaning. In the West, for ruling class of the West, words may lost meaning, but here in Russia, we still pay attention to the words because they mean something. And when President said that for Russia, this is a matter of, this is existential issue, and the situation is not yet in such conditions that so that Russia will deploy will conduct preventive nuclear strike. This yet, by the way, also means that topic is in conversation. So deployment of the nukes is definitely in a conversation. And if you ask me personally, I'm 100% convinced at this point. No 80, no 90, no 99. I'm 100% convinced that Russia will use on the first stage tactical nuclear weapons to defend itself from the aggression of the NATO. And if things escalate with NATO further, Russian strategical nuclear forces are on a high alert, and they can basically obliterate any country anywhere on this planet. So things are, I don't know why other channels are not paying attention to this topic. It seems like only me are talking about nuclear deployment of the nuclear weapons, but it is inevitable at this point. Unfortunately, Western ruling class did not listen to Russian warnings, signals from Russia, Russian proposals to end the hostility, and right now it seems inevitable to me personally that Russia will deploy in fairly short time, this summer, by the way. I cannot know when exactly, but I think this summer Russia will start using tactical nuclear weapons on the battlefield. And if NATO will escalate with Russia, if NATO will start using F-16s or whatever planes to conduct strikes against Russian forces or Russian territory from airfields in Poland and Romania, then I guess those airfields, and also in that case logistical hubs in these two countries, and maybe in some other countries also. Germany could be in conversation also. Airfields and their logistical hubs will be targeted also, because once again, President was very clear. This is an issue of existential threat for Russia. What Western ruling class is doing by waging this proxy war against Russia. And of course, no Russian government can allow Russia's statehood to be threatened in any way, shape, or form. So, mark my word, by the way, it might take, I don't know, day, 2 months, or maybe 2. But this summer, most likely, Russia will start using extreme force to neutralize its enemies. First of all, of course, it will be Kiev-controlled territory. But yet again, if NATO will escalate further, then NATO bases are in conversation also. This is big, by the way. This is big. We are on the edge of the peak of the escalation between West and Russia. There is no need to speculate where Russia can use nuclear weapons in Kiev-controlled territory. Most likely, it's going to be a huge concentration of, or big concentrations of Kiev regime forces, like, for example, Lipsy. Right now, in Kharkov region, there are at least 15 to 20,000 military personnel of Kiev regime in Lipsy area. 2 or 3 tactical nukes will deal with this issue, and there will be none of the Kiev regime forces there. 3, 4, 5 brigades can be eliminated in a matter of seconds. Huge concentration of Kiev regime forces also in Volchansk direction, and those groups can be eliminated also with a couple of tactical nukes. Of course, big airfields and bases in the central and western Ukraine most likely will be targeted, because it only takes 1 nuke to make sure that the strategical Soviet era built massive airfields will be obliterated and will become unusable for military purposes. And who knows what else can be targeted by nukes. But well, Russia, I guess, had enough of this nonsense from the Western ruling class, and they are ready now to start using extreme force. Once again, by the way, Russian president not randomly used these words that this Western aggression is existential threat for Russia, and he also reiterated that there is no need to, for preventive nuclear strikes yet. But tomorrow things might change, and will change, of course, obviously. So I think well, it's only a matter of time when Russia will start using nuclear weapons, and there can be no more stronger message to the Western ruling class than this. And once Western ruling class will realize that their own existence is on the line also now, well, after that realization, maybe Western ruling class will start de-escalating. Only then, when their physical existence will be on the line. It is unfortunate that things deteriorated this much, but well, it is what it is. It's not Russia that started this war, but it is definitely Russia that will finish it. And in any case, enemies of Russia will be neutralized. Let's continue now with some other news. I think main topic right now, definitely from my point of view, is definitely this inevitable at this point deployment of the nukes. And question is how Western ruling class will react. That's the only question I have. Will they escalate with Russia and risk with a full-scale nuclear exchange, or will they realize that well, enough is enough? Russia had enough of their craziness, and their game is there will be no more talks. Russia is very serious, and if they realize that, maybe they will start looking for ways to have some talks with Russian leadership, and eventually they escalate. But when it comes to Ukraine, Ukraine is finished, by the way. Ukraine as a state is finished, and well, I used several times this map to demonstrate what might happen with Ukraine, and I can share this map now also. There is a slight chance, although I don't believe in this, but theoretically there is a slight chance that Kyiv and surrounding areas, Kyiv region, may remain on the political map as under the name of Ukraine, as a quasi-state. But when it comes to rest of the territory, of course, Western Ukraine will be divided, will become under control of NATO, and will be divided between Poland, Hungary, and Romania. And the rest of the Ukraine, central and southern, northern, eastern parts of Ukraine will be controlled by Russia. That's fate of Ukraine. It's sealed now, and there's no way Ukraine will survive as a state on the political map. No chance for that. Impossible. Yes, some may argue that, well, Kyiv and surrounding areas may be kept as a quasi-state of Ukraine, but why would Moscow ever agree on that? I mean, what is the point of maintaining this artificial so-called state that never existed before and should never exist in the future? Because it was this so-called state was created on Russian land that was gifted by Bolsheviks to this quasi-state that they created in Soviet Union under the name of Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. So this is it, by the way. Games over, games are over, and there are things to become extremely serious, and we are on the edge of this peak of their escalation between the sides. But anyway, let's continue. Russian president also made some other important statements, and for example, he said that Russia could arm North Korea under agreement on strategic partnership, and on the partnership in terms of military assistance of each other in case of aggression. Of course, Russia has every right to provide North Korea with whatever weapon systems Moscow will decide to deliver to Pyongyang. That will be most likely long-range precise weapons, maybe hypersonic weapon systems. Who knows? I mean, it's up to Moscow. It's nobody's business in this world, with the exception of Moscow and the Pyongyang level of their cooperation in military terms. And Russian president, by the way, also stated that well, Russia is definitely considering. You know what? Let me translate, because this is also about nuclear. Also about some nuclear stuff. So Russia is thinking about possible changes in its nuclear doctrine. This is due to lowering of the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons in the West. However, Moscow sees no point in launching a preemptive strike, at least not yet. That's what I was talking about, by the way. At least not yet. But once again, these words are carefully chosen, and they definitely have a meaning. And This statement of Putin definitely clearly can be interpreted, at least that's how I see it, that topic of deployment of nukes are in a conversation. The West, Russian president noted, is not abandoning plans to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia. For Russia, this strategic defeat means the end of its statehood. That's what it means. This means the end of the 1,000-year history of the Russian state. I think this is clear to everyone. And then question arises, why should we be afraid? Isn't it better than to go to the end? This is elementary formal logic. So Russian president said, you know what, you want to destroy our statehood? Well, you are existential threat to us and we will go all the way now. And there is no point for us to be afraid of anything because everything on the line now. So very strong statements from Putin, by the way, very strong statements. Usually he is trying to avoid this strong language, but well, who knows, knows. If you know, you know, that this type of specific wording is definitely not random stuff. And we are on the edge of peak of the escalation between West and Russia. And also Russian president, of course, spoke about situation in Ukraine, and he said that Russia will never withdraw troops from nowhere. Ukraine's demand for the withdrawal of the Russian troops is only designed to perpetuate the conflict, because that's the only way the current Kyiv government can stay in power, Russian President Vladimir Putin has stated. Putin was speaking at the press conference in Hanoi, a capital of Vietnam, following his meeting with the leadership of the Vietnam on Thursday. Among other topics, he addressed the Ukraine conflict. If negotiations are linked to the withdrawal of our troops, about which the Kyiv regime dreams, then this will never happen, Putin told reporters, because the Kyiv regime does not want to relinquish power, does not want to hold normal elections according to the Ukrainian constitution. They will forever drag out the ceasefire talks, the Russian president added. This means that Kyiv has an interest in our troops remaining there, because they don't want to hold elections. As for attempts to bite back Russian troops from Kharkov, Putin said that the Kyiv's orders to achieve a victory on the battlefield at all costs will mean it is Ukraine that will suffer. Kharkov, he said, is a tactical operation which Ukraine is trying to portray as a strategic. And by the way, we all know, and I spoke about it in previous updates, that Kyiv regime desperately tries to regain control, at least over some areas in this buffer zone that Russian forces created in Liptsi and Volchansk directions, and there is a huge concentration of Kyiv regime forces in this area. And well, that's why I said just a few minutes ago that if it comes to deployment of tactical nukes, then it seems logical that one of the areas where those tactical nukes can be used is the Lipsy direction and the Volchansk direction to neutralize this 20-30,000 grouping of the Kyiv regime forces, if not more. So yes, Russian president is very clear. We will go all the way. We will go all the way, and well, things is about to get immensely tough, and we are about to see this next level of escalation between West and Russia. And Moscow was very patient, isn't it? No one can say that it was Moscow that was escalating constantly. Moscow was calling always, and still now, by the way, door is open. There is a opening to start negotiations, to start de-escalating. But we all know that Western ruling class is incapable of listening to anybody, and they have no reverse gear. Only way they will come to their senses is if they are forced to do it. They only understand language of force, and well, Russia will demonstrate force. Just give it time, little time. RT's report that Russian air defense systems and Russian militaries destroy about 120 Ukrainian drones. 114 drones, aerial drones, were neutralized in a number of directions, and also 6 Ukrainian naval drones were destroyed. Huge, one of the biggest attempt, drone strike on Russian territory from Kyiv regime, at least attempt, and unfortunately in several areas in Crimea, in some other regions, some of the drones managed to bypass air defense systems, but vast majority was neutralized. RIA Novosti's report here that in Kherson region there is an outbreak of cholera among Ukrainian military, and well, Russia even call World Health Organization to pay attention to this outbreak and to share information with Russia and with the world what the hell is going on in Kherson region. It's a big deal, of course. It's a big deal, and the Russian side pays attention to it. Of course, all the necessary measures, I guess, will be taken to make sure that this cholera outbreak will not cross Dnieper River, and people on the left side of the Kherson region, on the left bank of the Dnieper, will be safe. Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that US started modernizing its nuclear arsenals in 5 European states. And if you don't know, then I will give you this information that US has its nuclear weapons in Belgium, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, and Turkey. At least in these 5 countries. And this nuclear arsenal will be modernized, or maybe already have been modernized, at least partially. Also, RIA Novosti's report that in Slovakia, by the way, this scandal continues with the transfer of MiG-29 fighter jets to Kyiv regime by previous government of Slovakia. And well, previous defense minister was accused of sabotage, and most likely he will end up in a jail, because there is no documents, by the way. There is no paper trail. There is no official documents, nothing about transferring these planes to Kyiv regime. I mean, the level of incompetence of the previous government of Slovakia is shocking. They just basically stole from country fighter jets and give it to the Kyiv regime. Crazy, man. I mean, I would never think that this is even possible theoretically in European state, that without any papers, without any legal paper trail, I mean, weapons could be like transferred to anywhere, man. This is a weapons after all. This is not the toys. So yes, most likely number of high-ranking officials from the previous Slovakian government, including defense minister, probably will end up in jail for this criminal actions, because this is crime, by the way, against state for sure. I mean, there is no way around it. And if I remember correctly, Slovakia transferred some at least 13 MiG-29s, and also weapons and additional equipment for maintenance of these planes. RT is reporting that French Prime Minister warns election results could undermine support for Ukraine. Well, French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal has warned that the right-wing National Party rally, favorite in upcoming parliamentary elections, could make very serious changes to the country's position on the both domestic and international issues if it comes to power. This is all lies, by the way. This is all lies. We already have a statement from the leader of that party that they are in support of transferring weapons to the regime. I said enough yesterday, by the way, in my yesterday's first update about French so-called opposition parties and in general about political class in the West. I mean, they are playing the role, by the way. They are playing the role that they are trying to distract. They are creating narratives. They are creating parties that will serve certain narratives. This way, they are dividing public and are controlling public with these fake parties, by the way. This is all fake. This is all just fake, by the way. And unfortunately, people failing for this fake. And many people probably really think that this Marine Le Pen's party will make some changes, you know. Come on. How you can trust those corrupt, fake, so-called politicians, man? It's all game. It's all game to distract public and to maintain control over the public. That's all. Nothing will change, by the way, in French policies because Marine Le Pen is a CIA asset, man. That's what it is. You know, she can rally conservative public in France behind her with the lies and stuff. But in reality, even if she will become president of France, let's say, tomorrow, do you really think that policies of the France will change? And France will become a really independent state and will serve its people and not the interests of the Washington and London? I mean, how anybody can really believe in that? So this is all the games, by the way. All the games that cannot be taken seriously. And it's not just France, by the way. Any other country in the West. Entire political system is corrupt. All the so-called politicians in that system are corrupt and have no principles, moral values. Otherwise, they would not be part of that system. If they had principles and values, they would stay out of that system because, I mean, it's disgusting. It will disgust them. This Western political system is so disgusting that no decent human being will want to have anything to do with it. And that's why, by the way, you have these parties left, and this is also a game, isn't it? Leftists and right-wing. What that even means anymore? Take a look at the US, by the way. Formally, Democrats are leftists, isn't it? And take a look at the history, by the way. Most wars that US started was done by those so-called Democrats. They're supposed to be a peace party. I mean, just take a look at the history, by the way, and you will find out that most military campaigns that US conducted was during their Democrat administration. Surprisingly. Although, I mean, they are all the same, man. Democrats, Republicans, come on, they are all the same, man. This is uniparty. But to divide public and to control public, they are playing these games that, you know what, we will call ourselves Democrats. We will, you know, we will mess around this group of people that are left-leaning, and you will call yourself Republicans, and you will rally behind you those people that are more about traditions and are more conservatives, and we will fool all of them. We will do whatever we want to do, but well, we will have these people under control with lies and with false promises and so on, and they will never ever realize what's going on. And that's exactly the reality in the US, isn't it? And every other Western country, by the way, with no exceptions, with absolutely no exceptions. Some may argue that, well, I mean, Hungary, take a look at Hungary, take a look at Slovakia. Well, last time I checked, by the way, despite all the oppositions from the Budapest towards Brussels, eventually Hungary was also agreeing on everything that Brussels was proposing. That's factual also, isn't it? Yes, Hungary is trying to maintain some sovereignty, but well, they cannot withstand pressure from the Western ruling class. They just cannot, and it might take months, 2, 3, but eventually Hungary always signs up for whatever proposal Brussels has, or from whatever demand Brussels has from Budapest. It's a sad, but it's true also. So there are no exceptions, by the way. Absolutely not. RBK news agency is reporting that Armenia recognized the statehood of Palestine, and Armenian ambassador was summoned in Israel for this. Vzglyad newspapers report that Japan, another example of the colony of the Washington, so Japan expressed serious concerns about alliance of the Russia and North Korea. Okay, Japan, you acting hostile towards Russia, and therefore whatever makes you concerned or nervous is good, I will say, because enemies of Russia should be wary, that there might be no tomorrow for them, literally. So yes, it's good that Japanese political elites are losing sleep, maybe time to time. Okay, we can live with that. Interfax news agency is reporting that US banned its companies, US companies and US citizens to use antivirus from Kaspersky's laboratory. Okay, by the way, this war against Russia that Western ruling class is waging has no boundaries, and they are targeting everything, everywhere they can. And Kaspersky is the next target for them. This is the best antivirus that there is on the market. Proven antivirus. No one has, among customers, no one has any issues with the Kaspersky. But because it's Russian, of course they're gonna sanction this Russian business. Okay, man. If anyone will lose from this, it's US customers of the Kaspersky, because this is a antivirus from Kaspersky is the best protection of your devices. Without Kaspersky, devices will be hacked much easier by whoever wants to do it. Anyways, let's continue. And by the way, I'm quite sure through VPN, through other means, US citizens will still download Kaspersky because they know it's just best on the market. It's a heavy antivirus, by the way. I have Kaspersky on my notebook. Also, it's a little heavy antivirus, but it's a good antivirus. It has a free version, but there is also paid version that is, of course, beast. It will protect your device 100%. Vzglyad newspaper, and it's constantly updating, so hackers are creating new antiviruses, and Kaspersky is constantly, there is constant fight, isn't it, between antiviruses and viruses, and Kaspersky is on edge there. Vzglyad newspapers report that according to Reuters, and I mentioned this in my yesterday's update, that new 14th sanctions package of EU will target Russian tanker fleet, and LNG projects, and Russian LNG. European countries will be prohibited to import Russian LNG. Well, I don't think this 14th sanction package will be any more successful than previous 13. Russia will overcome, obviously, all the issues. But this is one more example. That's why I'm sharing this news once again. One more example to demonstrate that Western ruling class, they are enemies of the Western societies. They clearly are enemies of the Western societies, and people should wake up there, because who's gonna suffer from this 14th package of sanctions? Primarily Western customers, Western citizens. Because energy cost will increase, and when energy is increasing in its price. Of course, that will influence prices, all the way, just about everywhere. Food, deliveries, just you name it, man. Any production needs energy. And of course, inflation, if inflation is high now in Europe, then just wait. Just wait a couple of months and you will have at least another 3 to 5% jump in the prices. Just because Western ruling class has no care about their own fellow citizens. They just don't care. But when it comes to Russia, of course, Russia will deal with these sanctions packages, and we are laughing at this point. I mean, no one really cares here. I mean, if you go on the street and start looking for somebody that really cares, that, I mean, 14th sanctions package on Russia, I mean, what we gonna do? You're gonna struggle to find even single person that gives a damn about Western sanctions, man. That's a reality here in Russia. We just don't care, man. They can sanction all of us, everybody. We still don't care because we live our lives and we don't care about Western ruling class at all. We know they are enemies, and me personally, I want my enemies to be exterminated, that's for sure. And whoever will take hit on Western ruling elites, I will definitely applaud that, because I want my enemies to be finished. But I don't care about Western ruling elites any other ways and their actions. This is it. This is it. It is unfortunate that Western societies are so passive when it comes to dealing with their own criminal elites. But it's their life, their choice. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Western societies lost their instinct of self-preservance or something. I don't know, man, because it's so clear that Western ruling class is endangering their own fellow citizens in so many ways, by the way. I find it fascinating that there is no huge demonstrations in Europe, and there are no demands of changes in the foreign policies, or no demands for the escalation with Russia. Seems like people have no idea how dangerous current times really are and how dangerous their so-called elites are for them. But anyways, man, as I said, I can only feel sorry for Western societies. But I mean, what can I do? Maybe they will wake up one day. Maybe the small groups of the well-informed people in the West will manage to wake up fellow citizens and achieve some success when it comes to influencing policies of their own political leaders. I don't know, but now it seems like this is some sort of fantasy, and it will never happen, and the Western public will never regain control over their own states. I don't know. But anyways, this is it for today's update. Once again, dear friends, I think main topic of the day, and I guess every day from now on, is this upcoming peak in the escalation between collective West and Russia. And as I said, at this point I'm 100% convinced that to bring Western ruling elites to their senses, Russia will deploy tactical nukes, and because there is no other option, by the way. Objectively, you tell me if there is any other option. How many warnings Moscow had to give to the Western ruling elites? I mean, how many? It don't works. Only language Western ruling elites understand is force, and there is no any stronger force right now on this planet than nuclear weapons. So Russia will deploy nuclear weapons. It's only a matter of time. I think it will happen this summer. And when Western ruling class will realize that their existence is on the line, maybe they will start playing games and will start de-escalating having a, having a realization that they really went too far and endanger entire humanity with these irresponsible policies that they were pursuing. Let's see what will happen. In any case, I don't think anybody can blame Russia for anything, because all we see in this decades, by the way, not just in the last few years, but in last few decades, warnings from Moscow towards Western ruling class not to escalate, not to bring NATO military infrastructure closer to the Russian borders, not to escalate. But they did not listen, and they still are not listening, but they will. But they will very soon. They will have another option. They will no longer manage to ignore Russia, because their existence, their physical existence, will be on the line. So that's quite a strong stimulus for anybody to start thinking. Okay, this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update somewhat interesting and informative, maybe useful, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. Let's battle with the YouTube's algorithm, at least try, and for very same reason, to deal with the algorithm and to reach wider audience, if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends in real life and on the internet. And yes, what else? If you think this channel is interesting, useful, informative, if you like my work and my content, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.